It's server dependent, not region dependent. I should have made that clear. It's server dependent, not region dependent. I just believe a lot of the servers that are behind are in the EU, which is causing some confusion. Australia, I think, also has some issues as well. NA servers in their 20s are first in 23 hours. Okay. Does this game ask you for your ID? Not where I live. No, not at all. Sorry, dear. What is it different in phase? The weapons are the same or not? Well, no. It is important that nobody on the same server is getting the phases before anyone else on the same server. So all the people you're playing with are all getting the update at the same time. The issue is that not all servers are getting the updates at the same time. So that's how that works. Yeah. Which is, of course, a big issue if you're, you know, there's lots and lots of reasons that's not a good thing. Yeah. There are reasons for it being a good thing if you have an extremely transparent system where, you know, when you're selecting your server, players know exactly how much time until the next phase on the server browser. Like, you know, there'd be ways to do this right, but like many things in this game, they're good ideas with not great implementation or not great explanation. There's a lot of things in this game where it's like, that could have been really cool, but it's not implemented properly, or it's not explained well enough. And I'm hoping over time we're going to see more and more of those things get fixed. Because we did see a lot of those things get fixed in beta, which is awesome. But this game is full of stuff like that. And unfortunately, I hate to say it, but as we go forward, they keep making mistakes, which has been not great as well. But, you know, they are moving forward. And most importantly, they're listening to a lot of feedback from the community. And that's awesome. So we're
good.
We're all getting
you
through
got
it
out
together.
Safely. Did you find anything?
Not close to what you were expecting. Just a few random documents.
That's it? Well, let's take a look and see what's there.
Oh, so Legmu says it does tell you what day the server is on. That's how I picked mine. Let's go take a look at that after this, because I don't think that was in when I picked mine. We only had like 2 servers when we selected, so I don't think that was in when we looked.
Not really. Seems there's a power struggle within Rosetta between the Advent and Evolutionist factions. Anywhere you find people, you'll find politics, I guess. But no matter which faction we're talking about, nobody in Rosetta cares about human life.
Wait.
If they get their way, then the whole world will be lost. If you're interested, though, I have some info here compiled by the Mayflies about Rosetta's internal structure. I'll send it to you later.
At CohhCarnage, apologies, but you are very wrong. This is a good thing. So you are saying a server that are created today, or in 2 weeks, don't even get Season 1?
Yes. So here is the problem. Here is the problem, Magdalena. Because they're doing the 6-week system, and they're not quite sure how they're doing that yet, they're releasing servers in stages. Even though you can do all the previous content in a phase 2, they are releasing servers that start at phase 1. So what that means is that when phase 2 comes out in 5 weeks for most of us, you're going to have a giant cluster F of a PR when a huge majority of players don't understand why their server is not going to get it a week later. It's unnecessarily complicated. They're not doing a good job relaying this information to players. And we keep seeing these repeated problems. I'm at season 2, I'm sorry. Season 2. And we keep seeing these problems happen. So I completely understand where people would say, you know, there should be new servers regularly, so that way people can start at the beginning all the time. But the issue there is you don't want to have your game constantly, like, what do you do? Release a new server every week? Like, you know, that doesn't make any sense. So following that line of thinking, it would be much, much, much more advantageous for everyone to just design the game from the beginning to constantly be moving forward, have all the servers synced, and then all of this unnecessary stuff that happen, you just don't need any of that. You just don't need any of that. Like that all comes back to like the overcomplicating
It's a shame
thing.
we didn't make any progress, but I'll keep investigating. Take care of yourself. Until we meet again.
Like they keep trying to stopgap fix problems they're making by their own deployment and season system instead of just like designing the whole thing properly from the beginning. Yeah. Halfson says, tell that to people who enjoy things like EQ progression servers. Progression servers for 20-year-old MMOs are not quite the same as what we're doing now. I think people play those for very, very different reasons. I wouldn't even like equate them in the same ballpark, to be honest. Yeah, completely different things. Visit Tallgrass to gather information on the monolith. Oh, cool. Brand new area. Okay, let's go. Magdalena says, but it creates a huge time difference. So say you start on a new server that starts in phase 4 of 6. You now only have 2 weeks to do everything. That is putting a huge stress on people. So Magdalena, again, and I'm gonna go back. The reason that's a huge stress on people is because of the season system. You should never feel like there's like a stress on that. On that note, like if the season system was done properly, then that wouldn't be there, which means that when that season starts at phase 4, they'd have access to all previous seasons and unlimited time to do them, and they could progress and play as much as they want to catch up as much as they want to the new season, or just slowly take their time to get there themselves. Neither of those situations lead to stress, and most importantly, give the player agency in how they play their game, instead of the game dictating, you can play these games in these windows, and if you miss it, screw you. So I would still argue that is not a good system. Like, I would very much argue that's not the right way to do this. Significantly more people are going to be unhappy. And here's another thing. Everything I'm saying is assuming that the communication and transparency from the developers is pristine, which we also know is far from the case with this game. So, yeah. Lowen says, I get what you're saying, but I feel you are the one making it more complicated than it is. Am I? Okay. I mean, that's fair, but I mean, you say I'm overcomplicating it. I'm literally just saying what it is. Like we're talking about the system, which is very complicated, and we're trying to like piece through the different scenarios that can come from it being overcomplicated. So, but okay, we'll table that conversation for now. I guess maybe I'm not relaying my point well enough, if that's the kind of feedback I'm getting on what I'm saying. Yeah. Okay. I'll have to think on that a bit. Yeah. When does the wipe happen? Well, they're still figuring out what the wipe is going to look like and what exactly is going to be wiped. But it's going to happen in 5 weeks now. 5 weeks. Yep. Good discussion. I happen to agree with Cohh, but people are making good points. Yeah, I think the core is just they're trying to offer everything to everyone, and that's not going to work. And it's going to breed confusion, which it already has. So, yeah. Durger Crane says, I kind of like this system because I can choose what phase I want to play on the time I choose the server. Okay. I think you could do that in either system, but I see what you're saying. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Anavir says, they've already put out what you retain between wipes. Yes, but I think they're still deciding if they're actually going to go through with that system. Mm-hmm. Which would change things dramatically if they changed that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're changing stuff every day as well, which is another good point. They really are changing things all the time. How are we doing for tier here? 14. Yeah, let's you know what? Let's go through here for now. I was gonna say these guys seem a little low. Hey Nuri, would you mind putting that into our new system, please? If you would be so kind, my friend. Let's go back to this way. Do you not care about the PvP in this game? I'm not playing this game for PvP. I'm not playing this game for PvP, so I do not have a good answer. I was planning on doing the PvP in this game, but unfortunately they made this weird decision where they removed all the optional PvP stuff from the PvE servers. I don't like that at all, but they did it. And I was kind of hoping to do like a Defiance thing, where I was going to like play PvE a lot, get to endgame, and then my endgame was going to be like PvP and stuff, but that didn't work out, unfortunately. So no, I don't know. So I can't do it now. They didn't remove it, I think. As far as I understand, they turned all of this off. All of the warband stuff has been turned off. They turned off the PvE world events. At least that's what I was told. That's what they said with their little infographic. Maybe they changed it. Did they change it? There are some PvP events on PvE servers. Awesome. Well, that's fantastic. I mean, I just saw this cargo thing pop up, and people weren't saying the cargo things were popping up before. That's the first one I've seen, although it's gone now. But the cargo is PvP. Oh, cool. Great. Yeah, it's the first one I've seen. No, they released a little infographic on the official Discord before the servers came out, showing PvE and PvP. And they showed like all the optional PvP stuff on the PvE servers did not have checkboxes next to their name. That was that same graphic that had the PvE raids not being on PvP servers. So. Oh. Perfect example about how things are evolving daily. Yeah, agreed. A lot of stuff going on in this game all the time. Why would they not allow PvP servers to not do PvE raids? So when I talked to the dev about it, his specific answer was they wanted to significantly differentiate the servers. So that was their reasoning for removing content from the PvE server and the PvP server, is that they wanted them to be distinct, different experiences. So, I mean, you know, that's their prerogative. Okay. Do I like that? No, I don't. But it's their game to design. I would have liked all the optional PvE stuff or PvP stuff to be on the PvE server. I see no reason why not to do that. But I'm also not the one designing this game. So there you go. But that's what they wanted to do. Don't. Yeah, they seem to be really big about like they seem to be totally fine with the idea of removing content, both from servers and the game itself. And I think that comes a lot from free-to-play stuff. Like that's relatively common in the free-to-play world to do stuff like that. A lot of FOMO, you know. But the thing is and this is kind of an interesting thing, and it kind of goes back to like a lot of the stuff we've been talking about the last week. It's become more than that. I feel like the game has gotten bigger than like what's kind of like a lot of standard free-to-play games provide. And by becoming this bigger game, it's attracted players that don't normally play these types of games. So it's creating this interesting schism where like a bunch of players, even me in some cases, are being like introduced to relatively normal free-to-play mechanics and having us be like, this sucks. This is weird. I don't like this. But then you get told like, oh, this is just how free-to-play games do it. This is just how free-to-play games work. That's totally normal for free-to-play. I keep getting told that over and over, where it's like, man, I really don't like that about this. Oh, it's totally normal in free-to-play games. Okay, well, I still don't like it. Like, it doesn't matter. I still don't like it. But, so it's kind of interesting, because I feel like the devs are walking that line. And what's even more interesting to think about is considering where this game came from, I can only imagine like NetEase and all the companies that put resources into this game, they're kind of expecting that free-to-play amount of money. But I feel like these guys are like, in a lot of ways, just trying to deliver like a really good game and kind of walk that line between like, yeah, I have to say that I don't envy the position of the devs, because they're having to keep a lot of audiences and groups happy that I don't necessarily normally think need to all be happy at the same time, all with the same product. So it's an interesting situation for sure. Yep. Warrior Pie says the very good point.
If the game is good, it will make money. They don't need to sacrifice quality, unless they're just stupid.
No, and here's a big thing. That last bit, you said unless they're just stupid. I would switch out the last part of your message and say unless other people with more control want them to make more money. Because here's the thing, a good game will make money, but a good game with egregious pay-to-win mechanics will make a lot more money. That's just the world we live in. That's how it works. So if you are going to sacrifice monetized systems to make a quote-unquote better game, like, there's a lot of people, especially when it comes to companies like NetEase, who are there to make money, not to deliver good games. So then it becomes the dev's job to convince those people that it's okay to have a good game that will make less money. Or convince them, I hate to say it, but most likely erroneously, that their good game will make them more money than the pay-to-win game that they were going to make instead. So, like, morality's awesome, but it's generally, like, in many industries, it doesn't pay the bills. So, yeah. That's kind of how that is. Kind of how it's always been. That's a hard sell. Yeah. That's a hard sell. Trippy Guy says, Cohh's trying hard to be like Pirate Software. Yeah. by answering questions from chat and talking about the same stuff I have been for 10 years. I'm doing my best, but I'm just not there yet, man. I'm still trying. I'm still trying. We're working on it, dude. We're working on it. I'm trying so hard. I'm glad you noticed, though. I'm glad someone noticed. Yeah. Someday we'll get there, chat. Someday. Yeah. No, to put it bluntly, though, if there was one person I was trying to, I would be trying hard to be like, Pirate's not a bad guy to make that target. Yeah. I mean, that'd be a good one. I love the dude. Yeah, doing great, so. Mm-hmm. But nah, dude, I've always done exactly what I've done here. And I'm never gonna really change that. I've gotten way more interested in game dev recently. You know, I'm an executive producer of an indie game now. I'm co-owner of a publishing company. I'm investing in game dev. I have over 15 investments now in different game dev companies that I'm monitoring and tracking. So, you know, I'm doing a lot of game dev stuff, so I'm talking about it more these days. But I've been doing that for a year. You know, I've been doing that for a while. So, yeah. That's just kind of what we do here these days. Mm-hmm. I should go repair my motorcycle. You know what? We'll just run here. We'll just do the big run first. Mm-hmm. What are the odds of another Larian-like studio making it? It seems so unlikely. Is Kickstarter the best way to get them freedom? You know, these days, there are more and more great publishing companies opening up that are giving more and more indie devs great opportunities on that kind of stuff. So, what's kind of nice about... Ooh, look at this house. Kind of nice is that house. That house is kind of nice. Damn. What's kind of nice is, since we've been having so many issues... And I say kind of nice, and I'm going to say it again. It's a terrible situation for the game dev industry right now. It's not really positive at all. But what is happening is the people with money, and many people with money, are noticing that the AAA game dev is not doing well at all. And that's kind of trickling down to game dev in general. But what that does mean is a lot of people with a lot of money are now much more than normal on the lookout for indie titles and things that they think could be the next big thing that aren't going to be from AAA companies. And that field is starting to open up a lot more, which is nice. So that's good. We may see more resources in the next years than normal go towards studios that aren't AAA giant companies, which is great. So, you know, maybe hopefully that'll be a very small, thin silver lining to the horrification of the last few years. But yeah, so do I think there's room for another Larian-style company? I absolutely do. I mean, if you think of Larian's early projects, they weren't multi-million-dollar, fully mocap voice-acted things. That came with time. That came with time and success. And I think any company would need to have time and success to get to that point. It's not going to happen overnight for any company. Are we going to see a Baldur's Gate 3 in the next few years? No, absolutely not. Almost assuredly not. But yeah, I think these days, if anything, we're going to start seeing the seeds get planted for that company in 3 to 5 to 7 years to 10 years. I think these days are to give a little bit of insight. I've met with, God, at this point, over 70 different game dev teams in the last year or so for investing in stuff. The amount of smaller teams looking for late 6 or early 7 figures for their phase 1 runways that are full of industry veterans, have in some cases hundreds of years of game devs experience on their team. And these teams are looking for not $10 million, not $30 million. They're looking for like low 7 figures to finish their very cool idea, which they already have a demo for and looks awesome. And like, there's a lot of those companies out there. And it's good seeing these like much more agile, smaller teams, chocked full of experience, that are clearly in it because they love the game. They could have gone off and probably made so much more money doing other things, but they stuck in game dev to make these cool games that they want to make. And a lot of those companies are you know, we're going to start seeing them come to fruition in the next 1, 2, and 3 years. So it's gonna be really cool. I'm looking forward to seeing what that environment is going to look like, because there's going to be a bit of a vacuum with the lack of AAA stuff. So yeah, we'll all check that out together at the end of the day. What's the topic here? Oh, we were just talking about random game dev stuff and the state of the industry. I'm just running my ass to the next point here because my motorcycle broke and I'm trying to fill the awkward space. Oh, GM Workshop, my pleasure, dude.
Thanks for the comprehensive answer, bud.
I am thrilled that there are people that like to talk about that stuff with me. I am. I wonder why my bike broke. It just randomly exploded for no reason at all. It was really weird. Definitely not because I ran into stuff.
Hey, Cohh. Long-time YouTube lurker, just watched your multiple Dark Souls 3 playthroughs while beating it for the first time myself.
Nice.
Thank you for the many years of entertainment as I started watching when you tried out SO. Putting you on while gaming, doing chores, living life has helped me through many mind resets during stressful times. Thank you for all you do.
Well, my absolute pleasure, Grateful Dad. And thank you very much for that, dude. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Can this game be played casually? No. Not with the current season system. No, can this game be played casually? I think so. I think it can. But just keep in mind, it has a very aggressive, in its current iteration, it has a very aggressive season system. So if it's the kind of thing where it's like, hey, I can play an hour or two a week, is this a good game for me? I would say almost assuredly not, because you will not get to the majority of the content before it disappears in the current iteration. So yeah. But I mean, it's a fun game. It's just fun to play, and it's free. So I guess my answer to, is this a good casual game, would be dependent on this. Are you the kind of person that's going to feel bad? Are you not going to like content disappearing before you finish it? Because if that's the case, then you absolutely will have a very bad time as a casual player in this game. That would be my answer. Yeah. Because in the current state of how the game's going to work, we're going to be getting giant amounts of new content every 6 weeks, which I think some people will love. I think people that play all the time will love it. But I think that everyone else will probably not. So it's that kind of situation. But yeah, somebody in chat just said, why would they do that every 6 weeks? Because they want to conveyor belt the content to their players. That's the whole. It's kind of a form of FOMO, right? They want to supply content to the people that are playing this game like 4 to 8+ hours a day. Yeah.
Man, am I glad to see you. Did you come here to take on the Silent Beast?
Let's see. 6 weeks, assuming you play every day. 42 days. I got through most of the phase 1 content and arguably did some extra stuff in about 40 hours. So if you were going to play this game about an hour a day, I think you wouldn't be doing everything. There's tons of stuff I could have done. I probably missed 70% of the side quests, but you could get through probably the main quests playing like an hour a day. Yeah. You could probably get through all the main quests in like 20 or 30 hours. Maybe. So. Oh, wait a second. Time out. I'm doing that totally wrong. I'm sorry. I'm doing that totally wrong. That 40 hours was my phase 1. And there's 6 phases worth of content. No, this game isn't for casual players. No. No, I don't know, man. Like that's, I mean like, yeah, that's tough, dude. That's tough. Because that would mean that like all that you'd basically have to add up all the content in every phase and then divide that by 42, the amount of days you have to play, and then figure out like, yeah, wow, that's, and then you have to farm. God forbid you want to build a base and actually spend time doing that. Yeah, that's tough.
You haven't heard? Something's been creeping into the settlement here and stealing people away without a trace.
So, Nixale? What? This okay, last thing I'm going to say, then we're just going to play the game. I promise.
Is it even viable for them to keep creating enough new content every 6 weeks? Like what happens once they run out?
And here's another thing to consider. They're wanting to like create new scenarios every 6 weeks. They've been working on this one for years, and it's still missing animations. The main character didn't even get voiced. It's still super buggy. It's laggy. A lot of side quests have 0 voicing. The animations are buggy. The voice and lines don't line up. So like, I have to say that there's absolutely no question that we have to be like, what is going to be the quality level of this super fast content that you're planning on putting out? Like how like Genshin Impact and stuff, they do this kind of thing, but they have like entire machines cranking out this content. These devs don't. They don't. So it is NetEase, but from what I understand, it's not like the powerhouse behind NetEase. I think this is more of a NetEase experiment with the lack of the pay-to-win mechanics, to be honest. But I don't know. It is weird. I mean, I can tell you this. I like this game enough to where we'll be checking it out. At this point, I'm just interested to see what's going to happen. Like this whole thing is like a giant game dev experiment at this point. So yeah, we'll have to see.
The locals have started calling it the Silent Beast. Personally, I figure it must be a transcendent.
Look at this. Look at this one. Voiced. Animations lining up with what she's saying. Voice acting is actually pretty good.
The disappearances are real enough, and whatever's taking people seem to prey on the elderly. Once it runs out of those, it might start hankering for middle-aged merchant instead, know what I mean?
I mean, middle-aged, okay. Okay. Has the mayor here done anything about it?
Oh, that's a whole other story. Something's off about that guy. No matter how many people disappear, he just pretends nothing's wrong. If you want, you can ask him about it yourself at the management building. His name's Klein. I already tried talking to him, but the jerk just chased me off.
By the way, quick clarification.
NetEase has 30k plus employees.
NetEase is not making this game. NetEase, from what I understand, is funding this game. They are the publisher, and the person making them is a game called Starry Studios. So it is not like, that's why I was saying there's not like the full guns of NetEase behind it. It is a large dev team, for what I understand, and I do think that NetEase made Starry Studio, which is important to mention. But NetEase games have a certain level of completion, I would say, from everything I understand. And I've been told by NetEase enjoyers that this game is missing what they called the NetEase veneer, if that makes sense. So I don't know what that means, and I don't know why that is. But I've definitely had multiple people that in our community who play NetEase games be like, this is a NetEase game? Like, it's this weird, like, when you tell people this is a NetEase game, people that know NetEase kind of look at you like, what? It is? Like, which is weird. I don't know why that is, but that's kind of where we are. Yeah. So something seems to be a little different. Not sure exactly what that something is, though, but yeah. I don't know if we'll ever know. I mean, it's Chinese stuff, so we may never know. Yep. All right, so that's the PvP vendor. That was the random Starcrown vendor. Where is the vendor for stuff here? Definitely want to talk to the stuff vendor. Oh, let's talk to Lo too while we're here.